Hey guys, it's Nick Nenad from the Ring Generals. Just wanted to do a 15-minute time limit or a 15-minute review on NXT TakeOver 25 that just happened in Bridgeport, Connecticut. 5 awesome matches, and we get Adam Cole as the brand new NXT champion, and that's big because a member of the Undisputed Era has the championship. Johnny Gargano is not the champion anymore. He's kind of Mr. NXT, and he loses the championship to the main heel on the show. So this is a big win, and it was clean too. So I'll go over kind of each match. I don't have a lot of time here, so I'm not going to go over too much. But as far as the intricacies of each match, and I kind of tweeted about a lot of them too, so you can go back on the Ring Generals Twitter and go check out what I tweeted about some of the matches and stuff like that. It's pretty simple. It will take you like 30 seconds to do that right after you watch this video, of course. So overall thoughts, this event just happened. I'm doing this 10 minutes after the event happened, so I'm obviously super excited still. It was a great show. I really I wasn't disappointed in any of the matches. None of the matches were boring. Each of the matches told a different story, which is kind of really cool to see out of a wrestling pay-per-view, because sometimes you can get these spot matches and stuff like that, but each match really told a different story. In the beginning, you had Roderick Strong versus the original bro, Matt Riddle, which we all knew was going to be a great match. But it was a different type of match. Lots of authentic wrestling holds, a lot of striking, different ways. I hadn't really seen a match like that in a while, and that was fun to watch. And it was different than what we normally see. So that was exciting. That was, of course, a good match. Then you move on to the ladder match. Just insane. Ladder matches are supposed to be spot fest matches, and it absolutely was. I can't believe some of the spots they hit. One of the dudes from the Forgotten Sons went headfirst into a ladder. I don't know why you do that and what the thought process of that is, to take your head and ram it into a ladder and I guess hurt the sternums of the other two wrestlers. I don't understand it, but it was still fun to watch. Many guys getting suplexed on the ladders. They also had the one spot where the guys threw the ladders over their heads and almost killed Kyle O'Reilly. Legitimately almost killed him. I mean, if that ladder would have hit him in the head, something bad would have happened to him for sure. But great match. And then, of course, we get the Street Profits, these kind of newcomers to the big-time NXT scene. They win. And they partied up, and they have the Red Solo Cup gimmick, which I love. That's pretty cool. Our moniker is raise a glass in the sky and salute the Ring Generals. So it's nice to see that, a tag team that has a similar moniker did it. It's not the same thing, though. So they didn't steal our gimmick. Ours is raise a glass in the sky. It's a little different. Theirs is raise a Red Solo Cup or raise a cup in the sky. And salute the Street Profits, right? See? Cross-brand, cross-brand stuff right there. So that was great. They seem like they're a fun team, and it'll be interesting to see them have a normal match. Montez Ford is amazing in the ring. A lot of great spots. He had the spot where I'm forgetting what the move is called, but he had the spot where he jumped off the top rope and kind of he did a really cool move. Perfect. A lot of times when he's jumping out of the ring, it is picture perfect Ricochet style kind of stuff like that. So that match was really fun to watch, and definitely delivered. I thought actually to the two Money in the Bank ladder matches as well, the WWE put on at Money in the Bank were excellent, and I thought this match was just as good as that, maybe even better. So shout out to the 8 guys in that match, including the members of the Undisputed Era. But, if you're following along, Undisputed Era so far with 2 losses on the night. We know what happens in the main event. But at that point, they're making you think about the fact that, hey, the Undisputed Era hasn't won a match tonight. Maybe they go winless and maybe there's a breakup. That's at least what I was thinking, because I don't follow along with the NXT storylines on TV and stuff like that. So I kind of have to just base stuff off what the video packages show, what the pay-per-view is going, what's going on at the pay-per-view. So I thought, hey, Adam Cole's now going to lose the main event and they're going to have some breakup or something like that. That did not happen. But I'll get to the analysis of that match in a second. Then you have the return of Tyler Breeze to NXT versus, of course, NXT's, I think, rising star and maybe top star, Velveteen Dream. You knew this was going to be an incredible match, and it was. And both guys really, they really showed out in this match. And they took whatever bumps they needed to do. I'm forgetting the terminology. I'm breaking right now. But they really, really did a good job. And it shows that Tyler Breeze is just being underutilized on the main roster. Because this guy can really, really go. I love his new gimmick. It's not as comical as the one he has when he goes on the WWE TV. So that's really, really cool to see that he can still go. And it's always nice when you kind of see a guy come out like that. And then, of course, Velveteen. Oh, man, he's just awesome every single time he's in the match. He obviously comes away with the NXT Championship during this, or excuse me, the NXT North American Championship after this match he retains. And, it was a great match. A little weird ending that kind of was one of the more disappointing moments of this main event, or excuse me, this pay-per-view. I thought that you don't need to have Velveteen Dream kind of cheat that much at the end. I didn't like the way it ended, but, it's whatever. The match was still great, and you're not going to blame the ending that wasn't, totally awful, say like the Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte match at WrestleMania 35, but this was nowhere near that. This was a great match where both guys sold really, really well. I think one of the best things I saw on this whole show was those two guys selling during that match. They really made it look realistic. And to be honest, I thought that Velveteen was going to win before the match because you're just going to keep, you're not going to give up a guy or give the title to a guy that just came up on the main roster, right? You're going to you're going to keep it with your rising star. But they were so believable during this match, and they were hitting their moves so well, and they were selling so well. I really did not know who was going to win this match while it was happening. And then, of course, Velveteen sneaks in and kind of gets his sneaky way of winning. But nonetheless, they did a great job. Shout out to those guys. And so far, this pay-per-view is moving along perfectly, right? Every single match is great. A little disappointing ending right there, but nonetheless, you can look over that because the matches have been great. You get to the women's match. You have Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler, who's been the champion for what it seems like 10 years with that title. She's been holding it down in the women's division in NXT for a very, very long time, and because she's dominant. And she has a great character, and her character is believable because of the way her background is and stuff like that. This was another weird ending to this match. And sorry if there's a little weird cut there. For some reason, the recording stopped for a second, so I had to figure it out. But yeah, this was another weird ending to this match. Baszler ends up winning. She submits Io Shirai in the center of the ring via her chokehold. And, it seemed like during that match, because of the way it was developing, that there probably was going to be either an Io Shirai just straight up win, or an Io Shirai win with some cheating or some, some screwery involved, something like that. Didn't happen. And even Baszler's girls came out too to help her, and Candice LeRae came out and hit him with kendo sticks and stuff like that. But Io Shirai still was submitted in the middle of the ring clean by Shayna Baszler. So Baszler retains her title. That was surprising to me. Not necessarily a bad ending or a bad match at all. This was a really slow build, typical Shayna Baszler match, where she did a lot of her brutal moves, like those stomps to the elbows. They're really hard to watch. They did those, and so that it was a fun match, and it was a ending that I did not expect. But I'm not necessarily. I don't think it was a bad ending. I just think it was a little disappointing because you thought that something would happen for at least Shirai to lose, so that she could come back and maybe have another match. That's what I thought right after the match. And then we see that Io Shirai comes back, turns heel a little bit, or at least goes nuts, takes that kendo stick that Candice LeRae had used on Marina Shafir, and I'm forgetting the other girl's name, the Baszler's friends. She took it and she brutalized Baszler with this kendo stick, left a huge gash on her back and stuff like that. So, it'll be interesting to see. We'll probably see another match happen. between those two, at least that's what I think is going to happen. If you're going to have someone kind of go nuts after a match like that, I think you have to continue this feud in some way and keep it going. So that was good. And then we move along to the main event. So far, again, this pay-per-view has been awesome so far. Really not many complaints. I say 9 out of 10 so far, right? And you're hoping that main event can make it a 10 out of 10 show. Well, if you watch this, if you didn't, go watch this main event, because if you thought the first Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano match for the NXT Championship was awesome, this one is right up there with that one. And it's right up there with all the great matches at AEW's Double or Nothing last Saturday. This, in my opinion, was 4.5, 5 stars of a match. What I really loved about this match specifically was that it was a very slow build in the beginning. It wasn't a big spot fest. It wasn't fast-paced like a lot of these matches you see. It was slow, and they were hitting moves one by one, and it wasn't, there was everything had meaning. And then when you have a slow build like that, you can pick it up really quickly and make it an awesome match. And that's exactly what they did. Perfectly executed pretty much every single major move. The Panama Sunrise, which I think is an awesome name for a move. It's the move where the guy kind of jumps forward, lands on the guy's neck, and then does that like spinning power bomb. Amazing, very difficult move to do. Adam Cole hits one on the outside to Johnny Gargano and then hits one in the middle of the ring. Also, just amazing, perfectly executed. They even had a moment where Adam Cole, they knocked down the referee, and Adam Cole kind of fakes like he's calling out the Undisputed Era. It distracts Johnny Gargano. This is what I'm telling you, man. The storytelling in this match was really good, and it made this match unbelievable to watch. The false finishes were great. They were timed perfectly with the kickouts and stuff like that. And then Adam Cole, like I mentioned at the very beginning of this thing, he wins clean. He defeats Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship. Gargano was selling a knee injury the entire time. It gives the excuse for Gargano to actually lose, but I think obviously both these guys are at their best, and something has to happen for there to be a clean win. And that's what it was, and that's pro wrestling. You know, you work a leg, you work a body part, and then you end up winning the match because of it. Adam Cole wins clean. He wins his first NXT championship. He's won the NXT North American Championship. Of course, before he was the first one to do that, but this is his first NXT championship. And then there you have it. The Undisputed Era has a title at the end of the night. They have their win, and it's the biggest win possible from the guy that essentially created the group. He wins the title. I thought at the end there might be a little, a little bit of an evolution kind of ending where they had Adam Cole on the two guys' shoulders, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish's shoulders, and then Roderick Strong's kind of standing there. We've seen, Roderick Strong and Adam Cole kind of butt heads at times, so I thought there might be a turn on him at that point. There wasn't, so maybe that will happen later. But nonetheless, it's Adam Cole's night. And to finish off what seemed like a very well-produced NXT TakeOver 25 is Adam Cole winning the NXT Championship. You have a new champion and a great ending, a great match. And like I was mentioning, that finish and that match made this pay-per-view, in my opinion, a 10 out of 10. This was a great pay-per-view. This is not recency bias. I just watched it. If I watch it again, it's probably going to be even better. So I'm going to do it right now before I can judge it more strictly. But, I know a lot of people are going to compare this to Double or Nothing. And I think that's fair. I think they're very similar pay-per-views. I think Double or Nothing obviously had the element of surprise, and they had the element of not a lot of people knowing who these people were, so the matches really had to take control, and you obviously had Cody Rhodes with the shots at WWE and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to compare the two. I think they're two separate entities, two separate pay-per-views, both awesome. Both A's, in my opinion, as far as pay-per-views. But, give it some time. We'll see what happens with that. I'll let RKJM or Eric decide that, because I know they like to pick and choose, and they like to compare and stuff like that. So I'll let them do it. But nonetheless, this is a great pay-per-view. Interesting little moment too. Britt Baker actually was in the first row, cheering on her husband. That's a very interesting thing to have happen, considering that AEW just had this great pay-per-view, and their top woman star is in the first row for the main event of the NXT pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see how Vince responds to that. But nonetheless, great pay-per-view. I'm at my 15 minutes, or maybe I win a little over. It doesn't matter. Great NXT TakeOver 25. Great job by all the talent, and congratulations Adam Cole on winning his first NXT championship. This is Nick from the Ring Generals. Raise a glass in the sky and salute the Ring Generals.